the fuck is this?
Hello, lads and ladies. Let me get an audio test first. Hold on a sec. Let me get some sick beats, if we can. Playing in the background. Bit of Decepticon for you. Check him out in the description if you're interested in his musical stylings. Let me see if this is working also. Ready Player VR, yeah, it's popping up on the screen. That's good. How you doing, Ready Player VR? Make it good. Joke, but not really. The pressure is on immediately from Ready Player VR. We got Solid Justice saying, hope we see some gameplay soon. I assume he's referring to Firewall Ultra, and I will start with Firewall Ultra news because I know it's what's hot. You know, it's what the people want, especially on this channel. Geisen with the moisture. How you doing, Geisen? I've never seen such behavior in the war room before. Gran Turismo 7, a shot in the arm, question mark. What even? Is that not an expression you've heard before? And we've got, damn, that's a rare one. Jason Seal has subscribed to the channel. We don't normally get live subscriptions. So that's pretty cool. How you doing, Jason? Thanks for subscribing. If you're not familiar with the expression a shot in the arm, you know, it's like a revitalization. But I'll get into it, you know. I'll explain myself. Zach Wilder, Zach the Lego Maniac, as his parents call him, because he can't get enough of Lego, quivering in anticipation. And War Room is moistened. It's like what I want to hear. Ready Player Viewers, wet. D Wolf, how you doing? Says very moist week. It has been exceptional. Like, it started very dry, and then this is what I'm talking about with the shot in the arm. We had that bad news from Bloomberg, even whether you believe it's false or misleading or whatever. And then Gran Turismo came along. And it like erased that for me. For me. Marcosaurus says, hey everyone, is it just me or is it kind of damp in here? Almost like we're all moist. Ready Player VR says, Gran Turismo 7 not compatible with Sense controllers. That's true. That bit of news dried you up. It hasn't dried me up. Personally, I mean, you got the DualSense. You can use the 6-axis. You can steer like this with the DualSense. Listen, if you're playing with the Sense controllers and like reaching for the gear stick, and then you whiff it on a race in Gran Turismo, that'll cost you a second. And if it costs you a second in Gran Turismo, you lose your mind. The option would be nice. I'm not going to say it wouldn't be, but I think if the option was there, I would still go for DualSense, or obviously the wheel with the pedals and the force feedback, and you know. But that's a wealthy man's dream. Jason Seal says, sup, I'm here for the hype. Welcome, Jason Seal, and thanks for joining. Fozzie Bear says, hello everyone. Fozzie, how you keeping? WTF is up, says Space Denizen. And Geisen, of course. Well, we got Geisen already. Super moist for PSVR2 hype, and it's just, I just want to talk about it now all the time. It's just the positivity is it's just easy to make a video about PSVR these days, you know. And Decepticon himself is here, and hopefully you can hear his beats in the background. They could be down too low, but let me know how the volume is and how everything's coming across before we get into it. Ready Player VR says, I want to drive manual with my left arm up and my right arm on the stick. My left arm up? Oh yeah, I forgot. You people drive on the left side of your cars over there, assuming you're an Americano with your dollary dues and whatnot. You can't hear no beats? Okay, I'll increase the heat. How's that? Desktop audio. It should be loud enough. But let me know how it is before I go on. Good? I hear a yes. But hopefully it's not overpowering mine, or I'm not overpowering it too much. Decepticon says, hold on a sec. The new show should be called Seeds and Potatoes. Could you explain that for me, please, Decepticon? The seeds part, at least. I understand the racism that you're bringing with the potatoes. That needs no explanation. Instead of meat. Alright. Oh, I'm a pumpkin, obviously. Yeah, pumpkin seeds. I get it now. I get it. So I thought it might have something to do with cum. But I mean, in a way it does. What is a pumpkin seed if not? come at the end of the day. Can we start with the first story, as it were? And let me first of all give credit where credit is due. This comes from Polish Paul VR. I saw a thumbnail pop up with Firewall content, and I was like, hold on, so he's dedicated a whole video, an 8-minute video just to Firewall Ultra, and he says it's got rated. I was like, what kind of clickbait is this Polish fella up to today? But lo and behold, the title that he put out there matched the content of the video, which was, you know, a lovely surprise, I must say. So basically, Firewall Ultra, if you go on to ESRB, which is the electronic, you know, something rating board. What's the S for? I don't know. Software. Here it is, right here. Entertainment software, not electronic software, but what's the difference? Basically, you can search for Firewall Ultra, it'll pop up. I don't know how long it's been here. I assume it's recent enough. But it gives a little bit of a summary. You can see it got T for teen, and the two little blurbs beside us, bullet points, is that it has blood, it has language, which refers to bad language, of course, and it has violence. So let's read the summary. This is a virtual reality first-person shooter in which players assume the role of military contractors engaging in team-based missions. So far, so good. Players are tasked with attacking or defending a series of laptops/locations in frenetic combat. So it's interesting that it's not just laptops there. Now I don't know if that means, if that points to a different mode. Maybe you're defending points on a map that could move around, that could point to like a capture the objective, or a moving objective around a map or something like that, if it's not just laptop. Anyway, players use pistols, machine guns, crossbows and grenades to kill opposing soldiers. Interesting that they don't mention sniper rifles or flamethrowers or RPGs. I don't know, would they class those kind of guns as subcategories of these? Like maybe I mean, would a sniper rifle fit into the machine gun category? I don't know. Maybe they're not that specific when it comes to these kind of ratings. I don't know. Players can also use knives for melee attacks on enemies, resulting in splashes of blood. Firefights are highlighted by realistic gunfire, blood spatter effects, that's new, explosions, and cries of pain. Now in Firewall 0 Hour, when you shot someone, there was like a little puff of blood, if I remember right, but there was never blood splatter that would stick to walls and stuff. So blood stains are also depicted on some floors and walls. The words shit and asshole are heard in the game. So what's the significance of this? The significance of this is that it wasn't that long ago, maybe a week or two ago, where I did a PSVR news video where I was talking about how Horizon Call of the Mountain VR had just been rated by the same website. And we know that game is coming out in 17 days now. So does that mean Firewall Ultra is close? Not necessarily, but it is like a promising sign. I don't think we're going to be waiting too long for Firewall Ultra. We knew it was going to be a 2023 game. Their Twitter has become, ever since David Jagneau joined First Contact Entertainment, their Twitter has kind of started pumping out some more tweets, even if it's like more kind of generic, not generic, but you know, well, general engagement, that's the word I was looking for, where, you know, they got screenshots Saturday and stuff like that, whereas before they would not put anything out on Twitter really unless it was like some kind of an update, or if they were promoting the community stream or something like that. So something's going on, and it feels like they're ramping up to something. Hopefully very soon we'll get some kind of announcement. Matty Fat Batcat, you are looking overly beautiful today. Matty Fat Batcat. It's like I'm pregnant with the PSVR2 and I'm glowing. I feel like all of us might have that PSVR2 glow right now, except for the Questicles in the chat. Those Quest lads, they're probably looking a bit tired right now. Bags under their eyes. The rest of us, it's 2 o'clock in the morning here. I could do somersaults if I wanted to. I could do cartwheels all day long because I only have to wait. It's the 5th of February now. It's 17 days. 17 more days and I got my hands on the PSVR2. So thank you, Matty Fat Bad Cat. but right back at you, I suspect. I can't see you, obviously, but I suspect that's what it is. Decepticon says McFax, as in that could be the name? Is that what you're saying? Again, going for the racism, bigot. He's a bigot, but he's a questicle. He's got negativity on the mind. Zach Wilder says best Paul. We got some Paul fans. Got some Paul fans in the chat. Lads fisting each other. Darren Green, how you keeping? Why would you need move controls on Gran Turismo 7? A lot of people ask this dumb question. It is a needless upgrade that game will never need. Leave well enough alone. Well, listen. I can appreciate anyone's point of view. The same argument is happening with Firewall Ultra. Some people insist they need manual reloading. Other people would prefer button press, so that's more reliable. I'm in the wait and see category. I want to see how it feels the way it's done, and then, you know, maybe if I'm playing Pavlov VR and I'm loving the manual reloading there and I'm not whiffing and it's not messing up, it's all accurate and I'm enjoying it, then maybe I'll start shouting for manual reloading in Firewall Ultra. But I can see your point of view as well, Darren. I already said it, but you know, you're driving a car in virtual reality with 2 motion controllers. You're not feeling the wheel, really. Your hand will probably just get tired from holding it up like this, you know? And it might drift away subconsciously. Not subconsciously, but you know, over time. And then your hand is not where you thought it was. And then you're reaching for the gear stick if you want to do manual. And you're missing it. Presuming they put manual gears in it, but why would you put motion controls in it if you're not going to do that? So, you know, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. War Room says, I want to see blood, guts, veins in my teeth. Well, you got a teen rating there, and that's important too. A teen rating is important sales-wise. You don't want to be limiting the game too much by putting an increased age rating. But I'm pretty happy that Blood Spasser is there. I thought that might drive the age rating beyond teen, but it seems like it doesn't. Darren Green says, well, I don't know if he's saying this in the Irish way or if he's starting a sentence. Geisen says, can't use moves on the PSVR2. Well, he's talking about the sense controllers. He just means moves. Virtual steering will be a mess anyway. There you go. I think I agree with that. But obviously, I'd like to try it to see for myself, but I can just imagine virtual motion control steering with 2 separate controllers just wouldn't work. Decepticon says, Hess pops out like Mortal Kombat Toasty when you do something good and curses. I like that idea. That's a good one. Let's get that in the game. If you burn, let's have like Willy Pete grenades, you know, them white phosphorus, you burn people alive. He pops up and says Toasty in an Australian accent and then just disappears again. And if you shoot him before he disappears, you get some kind of bonus. Fozzie Bear says, bloody assholes in Firewall sounds gay. Bloody assholes. What was the other word? Shit, was it? Was it shit, an asshole? Yeah, you should have went with shitty assholes. Because everyone can have shitty assholes. Heterosexuals too. Spell check is so crap. Darren hopes to get it February 23rd. Your day late? What's going on? Day late? Why aren't you there day 1? Adrian Baldwin, how you doing? Says, do a cartwheel. I could easily do a cartwheel. Adrian Baldwin. But we just got questicles in the chat. I don't want to be rubbing it in their face how happy we are. How good our lives are. And then they're looking at their situation. We've got the steak dinner. They're looking at their like can of beans. And they don't even have a tin opener. You know? So I don't want to rub it in. They're suffering. We can be the bigger person here. Zach Wilder says, anybody check out that Light Brigade game? I'm going to talk about that actually. There's an interesting video that popped up. We'll play it later on when we get to it. Ready Player Viewer says, if it's not cross-play, I want manual reload because it'll give advantage for those who's quick at it. If it's not crossplay with what now? Firewall Ultra is only coming to PSVR2. But you want the advantage to go with those who's quickest at it. Which is understandable, but then what happens if you're so quick with it? The PlayStation doesn't register is because, you know, an LED got blocked by your thumb or something like that, and then you whiff it, and then you're like, fuck this, you know, that should have went in, it's not my fault. You get frustrated, you're having a bad time. However, I do like the idea of, like, a teammate is out of ammo, and you take a clip or a magazine out of your own asshole, basically, and throw it to them, they catch it, and load it in that way. That would be really cool. Geisen says manual reload on an air gun is less immersive than Aria actually holding a gun like an aim or a gun stock. I think I get the spirit of the comment there, Geisen. Mickey Pounds, how you doing, Mickey? Says let them take their time and release a finished game. Can't wait. So I 100% agree, and that's why I'm like really relieved that Pavlov is in the launch window, because it's going to give me something to tide me over until Firewall Ultra comes out. Alt Action Gaming says, yo guys, how you doing? Mr. Gaming, nice to see ya. Kaisa de Pixels, I hope I'm saying your name right. Could be Kaiksa, I'm not too sure. I had a great time with Firewall 0 Hour. I'm really excited about Firewall Ultra. Love to hear the positivity. Alt Action Gaming says, just been on Dying Light 2. It's awesome now after the massive recent updates. That's another game you'd love to see in VR. Darren Green, just because I don't think my pre-order will be day one, I'll give them 1 day. Okay. I'm hoping mine will be here on the 20th. That's what I'm hoping for. Sneaky. Well, 21st. Let's say 21st. I'm not going to get myself too hyped up, but there's a chance I can get an early delivery. CD Roar. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. So pumped for Firewall Ultra. This is my most anticipated game for PSVR2. Hell yes. CD Roar. I'm just going to call you CD from now on. It better be here 22. It better is right. Adrian Harden is here. How you doing, Adrian Harden? Nice to see you. Okay. What else did I want to say about that? Yeah, basically just point out that it's the teen rating, Bloodspatter. That Horizon only got the rating. Well, I don't know when the Horizon rating went up either, but basically it was only noticed within the last couple of weeks, and this has only been noticed today by Polish Paul or whoever tipped Paul off, I don't know. So it could point to something coming soon. So next I want to talk about, well, you can feel free to talk about Firewall all you want there, but there's not really anything else to say newsworthy wise. Sorry about this. I should have had this better prepared. I'm going to boot up just a video of Gran Turismo, some of the hands-on impressions. What's the longest one? I just have a quick chat about that. Fuck it, we'll stick this one on from GT Planets. I think it's a good one. Full screen it. And pop it up here. Okay, so this video on the background playing is from GT Planet. This fella was invited to do, well, he's one of the few who was invited to get the hands-on impression of Gran Turismo 7 VR. I suppose it's interesting to note that IGN was kind of the only big one who covered this. Kind of funny, sent a fella out, and he was like 1 day later reporting this than anyone else, so he didn't. Normally on the embargo they're quick to get this stuff out, but they were happy to wait 24 hours after the embargo for some reason. The likes of GameSpot, the other like Kotaku, Polygon, all these other big gaming sites didn't seem to cover it at all. I wonder, were they invited? Or is it just this, you know, they're like, well, VR doesn't give us clicks, it's not giving us the traffic, so we're not going to talk about it. Which I would find kind of strange, because, you know, IGN got some big views, I think, from that video. But yeah, Gran Turismo 7, the hands-on previews just brought like a massive wave of positivity to PSVR2, which I think was badly needed. Alt Action Gaming says Dying Light 2 on PSVR2 would be like a dream come true. Darren Green says Killing Floor would be a good upgrade. Yes, it would. Adrian Harden, it's been a while. Hope all is well. Nice to hear from you, Adrian. It has been a while. Uh, I'll be honest with you. I can't remember anything about you other than your name. Please don't take that personally, Adrian. I do remember the name, alright, but I can't remember past discussions, if you know what I'm saying. I've got a bad memory. So hyped for VR2, says Alt Action. I can't afford one, yes, but I'm still hyped for all the upcoming gameplay. Darren Green says, will Gran Turismo 7 work offline in VR? Of course it will. Because Gran Turismo 7 is an online game, but you can play Gran Turismo 7 offline too, can't you? I was playing it the last day and I lost connection. A little thing popped up saying you've lost connection to the servers. And I was still playing, so... I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe you need to boot it up or whatever. But yeah, Gran Turismo 7. Some interesting stuff came out alongside all these previews. Obviously, the hands-on previews themselves gave a lot of new information, but there was an interview with Famitsu, which is a Japanese website, so I think they're a magazine, and then they turned into a website, you know how it is. And basically, the Gran Turismo 7 director, Yamaguchi or whatever, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but he said that Gran Turismo 7 was actually designed with VR in mind from the beginning this time around, and he spoke about how Gran Turismo Sport, because that game was not designed with VR in mind, that made it much harder for them, and that's why it was so limited. Of course, you played Gran Turismo Sport, you know you could only race against one other fucking AI. I think there's a very limited amount of modes you could do. Limited, was the vehicles limited too? I can't remember exactly, but it was massively handicapped. And this time around, they designed it with VR in mind, and that's why everything, barring split screen multiplayer, that's the only thing that does not work in Gran Turismo 7 VR. So it's pretty interesting then that they had it designed from the beginning with VR in mind, and then they waited so long to tell us it was coming. I cannot understand why they did that. They waited until CES, which was early January, just a couple of months before launch, to tell us that it was coming at all. I don't get that at all. So that just kind of baffled me further. I mean, I'm happy that it was designed with VR in mind. That's excellent. That's a great thing. But what's going on with the marketing? What's the idea here? Like keeping these things secrets? I do not know. It's pretty crazy. Darren Green says works offline, arcade mode. Geisen says Gran Turismo Sport was limited because of the OG PS4. Well, obviously that was like a huge part of it as well, but in that interview, according to him, he says it's much harder to implement VR in a game that doesn't have it built with VR in mind. Well, that's his experience anyway, going from Sport to Gran Turismo 7. So I'm just going by what he says. Darren Green says full garage. So you can play the full garage in Gran Turismo Sport. I know you got the full garage in Gran Turismo 7, which is like 450 something cars, which is kind of ridiculous. I've only unlocked 40 something, so I've got a lot to go. Actually, is there any Gran Turismo fans in the chat who like recommend a particularly attractive interior to check out? So for a car that I'd like to try and unlock, I would like to do that. The sexiest one you have. But yeah, I suppose the other thing is, I mean, I talked about this in the Gran Turismo video I did, and by the way, if you check that Gran Turismo video I did, it's got like nearly 10,000 views. And if you look at my channel, if you've been here for a while, I do not get numbers like that. So there is big interest in Gran Turismo 7 VR. I'm seeing like my subscribers going up. A lot of people, all of a sudden, their heads are turning towards VR because of Gran Turismo 7. So it is a huge shot in the arm, not just for my channel, but for PSVR2 in general. I think it's going to, move a few thousand headsets. And hopefully it'll be the start of something big. Something of Sony being like, hey, these AAAs, let's get them into VR, move some headsets. Although, of course, there was still the negativity from certain people. I watched the Kind of Funny guy, who's Snowbike Mike, he's called. He's an Xbox fella. I don't know why IGN and Kind of Funny both sent their Xbox people to test the PSVR2 stuff, but they did. And while he was positive about the game. He's like, oh yeah, it's great, blah 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 blah, excellent. And then he got very negative, and they all got very negative. The co-hosts, they got very down. They were bringing up the price again. They're like, Gran Turismo 7, it's very good, but it needs 5 AAA titles, you know, and I'm not going to get it for a year. I'm going to wait for a year and see how much it's, like, what kind of library it has after then. I mean, it's not, the things that they're saying is not wrong either. It is very expensive, even though it's good for the price. The tech that's inside us is probably a deal, a bargain, but to the common man, it's ridiculously expensive. So, you know, I can see where it's coming from. But when you've kind of been blown away by experiences like that, and then you just disregard it, and you're like, well, this game actually came out a year ago, so it doesn't count. Resident Evil 8 is actually 2 years old, so it doesn't count, even though VR transforms it completely. So that's just something that's really annoying as a VR enthusiast. I'm sure many of you are the same, in the same boat as me, and getting annoyed seeing shit like that. But again, not to get too down on this, because the actual impressions of Gran Turismo 7 itself, I don't think there was any real faults. I'm trying to think of any negatives. There was a couple of times, I think Ryan McCaffrey of IGN, he felt a weird sensation in his stomach once that passed quickly. I think this guy as well in the video playing beside me, he felt something on that one track as well, but then when he went onto a different track, it was gone. I think he mentioned as well on PSVR 1 he wouldn't be able to last half an hour, whereas on this he was able to do an hour fine. So they might have solved the motion sickness issue, which is a big one if they actually have done that. Darren Green says, all cars you have win in your garage only. All cars you have win in your garage only. Not sure what you mean. I'm sorry, Darren, I'm not following you. The Ford Sierra Cosworth is a class car, my favorite at the minute, so I'll look that one up. Ford Sierra Cosworth. I want something that has like lots of cool dials and shit, and maybe at night time the dash lights up in a cool way so that I can really study that stuff when I'm racing and, you know, enjoy it. Booyakisha is here. How you doing, Mr. Booyakisha? Yo Pump, I pre-ordered mine. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Welcome to the family, son, as Jack Baker would say. Grid Legends on the Quest 2 worked fine with multiplayer, but the graphics got nerfed because of it. Grid Legends 2 is famously one of the worst looking VR games. But it does have its fun. Apparently it's like very fun to play anyway, if you can get over the looks. Solid Justice. The first car I will try in Gran Turismo 7 VR is my own. Did it for both GT Sport and Assetto Corsa on PC VR. I was thinking that too. I drive a Toyota Corolla, but I think there's only one Toyota Corolla in Gran Turismo Sport, and it's like a 1980 model. So it's quite different looking to the one I have, but I might get it anyway. Darren Green says, I guess Skyline. Skyline will be looking a bit sexy inside. We'll go for it. I think I might already have a Skyline. Got VR Leg says, gimme. I wish I could. Saving for the Tesla. Yeah, that would look pretty fancy inside as well. IGN's Brian McCaffrey said that he owned a DeLorean in real life. He sold us like 10 years ago, and then he tested it out in Gran Turismo 7, and it felt like he was back in the car again. So it looked like he was feeling nostalgic, that it was affecting him in ways he wasn't expecting, and that he was blown away by it, you know. I can't wait to drive my Sierra Cozzy in VR, listening to DNB like a boy racer. There you go, doing donuts, driving around outside my house at 2 o'clock in the morning when I've got children trying to sleep. Why do you do that? PSVR2 Stupid has arrived. How you doing? Getting mine, GameStop, Newbridge, morning of 22nd. Yay. My GameStop has closed down, so I'm getting mine delivered from GameStop. They said they'd send it out a day or two beforehand, so I'm hoping maybe I'll get a sneaky an early one. Booyakisha says, what's up with all the mainstream media haze for PSVR? That is a very good question. Why is it they seem to really have an axe to grind against it? It's fine if you're not interested in it, but they seem to actively want it to fail. There seems to be, and I'm not just talking about mainstream either, it's like just the unwashed masses who've never tried it, or maybe they tried a mobile phone version of it. And listen, I kind of understand it myself. When PSVR 1 came out, I got it as a gift. You know, I was interested in it, but I was hesitant about it, you know. Hold on, let me get that going again. I wasn't convinced about it. I wasn't too sure what to make of VR, and then obviously I played it myself. It blew my mind. So there's so many people out there who didn't get one as a gift, obviously, who didn't get their mind blown. And of course, I never experienced motion sickness as well, so that was a big help. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, seem to have, you know, have it out for PSVR. So it definitely has an uphill battle. It's going to have to wow people, and I hope Sony is aware of that. Darren Green says there's more tracks coming to Gran Turismo 7 in the future. Well, Gran Turismo 7's got like a history of being well supported for a long, long time. So that's like, there's hundreds of hours of content in Gran Turismo 7. I can just see myself, you know, trying to get gold and all the licenses or whatever in the missions while listening to Spotify and just relaxing. Updates are well on this game. That's what I want to hear. Devilon is here. I hope I'm saying your name right. That Ryan McCaffrey video definitely sold headsets. Well, that's why it was so good that IGN, out of all the big ones that did cover, and it's a shame that, you know, the other big ones didn't, but the fact that they did, they're the biggest, you know, so that he looked like he was at a loss for words for most of his conversation about us, and it seemed like something that was a bit of a revelation for him or something, and that's something I saw a lot of people commenting on as well. So definitely headsets getting sold because of that. And PSVR2 Stupid says happy days, pays to be Irish for once. Exactly. I got like a 5-hour advantage over the East Coast Americans, so I'm just going to try and really rub it in for those 5 hours if I do get it before them. Alt Action Gaming says because they're scared it's the new gold standard and it's half the price of a PC setup. But like, you know, they're not shitting on the Switch. They don't shit as much on the PS5 and the Xbox. I don't know. It's kind of like, remember when they introduced the sticks, the dual sticks on the DualShocks, and I think there was a PS1 game, I think the first one that used us in a first-person shooter like Alien Resurrection. And if you read reviews for that game, it was the first game that used, you know, left stick to walk, right stick to look around and aim, which is what every first-person shooter uses these days. But back then they're like, this will never catch on, this is trash. It was just because it was something different and new, and they had to learn a new way to play, basically. But there's probably like a million different factors. I can't pinpoint what it is. Decepticon says PSVR 2 will only push viewer further. Quest 3 will still not be PC viewer quality without a PC. Exactly. And it's kind of unrealistic to expect that it will be, unless they have some kind of like magic technology. Which, in fairness, Nvidia, with that DLSS shit, they're kind of doing some magic in there, but I don't think you can get that running on a Quest 3. But maybe a Quest 4 or Quest 5, you know? Maybe that's when the graphics really step it up. Jason Voorhees, how you doing? Welcome. Ryan looked like he had a religious experience. There you go. I was kind of going along those lines, but I wanted to dial it back a bit, you know? But that's kind of what it was, you know? He was at a loss for words. Probably had to remind himself that he's the Xbox guy on that team. He can't be praising it too much, you know? And Forza is a game that's coming out, and Gran Turismo is in direct competition with that. I imagine he's going to be like, well, Forza might be the better game in other areas, but it doesn't have VR, so therefore it's a, you know, it's not in the race at all, if you know what I mean. Booyakasha says, when is the Firewall Ultra gameplay video? I mean, it's just a guessing game. It's just a guessing game at this stage. Nobody knows outside of First Contact Entertainment. They've said news is coming soon, but we know what soon can mean anything, really. It could be a week, could be a month, could be 2 months. I mean, what does soon mean? We've played this game with Firewall before, with Adam Orth, if you can remember back then. Darren Green says, great news if you have a PS5, bad if you have a PC. And yeah, that's another thing I'm seeing as well, is a lot of people saying, oh, if this was compatible with PC, I'd buy it, no problem. But I wonder if that's true, or if it's just something to say. Decepticon says needs more watts for power. Don't know if they'll ever have a high power standalone that's like 500 watts attached to your head. Maybe the smart move is to like attach it somewhere else to your body. Like a strap on your arm and then have a small wire going up to it or something. I don't know. South Park Buzzers, lol. I've missed that reference. Got VR Leg says, where is PSVR Frank? He is there. He's in First Contact Entertainment. And I wouldn't be surprised if you hear his voice in Firewall Ultra, because his voice was in Solaris. So maybe they'll slip him in there too. That'll be interesting. Something to keep an eye out for. Yes, that's what I wanted to say about... Hold on a sec. I don't remember shutting that browser down. Where did it go? Uh-oh. Sorry about the technical gremlins, guys. Whatever. It's not a big deal. Next thing I want to talk about. What is the next thing I want to talk about? Let me open up the Reddit, because they have links to all the good stuff. We could talk about Kayak VR. I think that's something that's worth talking about. In case you weren't aware, I'll see if I can pop it up on Reddit. I'm sure it'll be one of the first listens, I hope. But we're slow to load. Come on. Who's talking about Kayak? There it is. There it is. Okay. Browser? Is that gonna work? What is happening here? Sorry about this. Something's wrong with the browser capture for whatever reason. There we go. I don't know why that messed up, but it did. VR Demon, how you doing? What's up, Pumpkins? Nice to see you. I hope you're keeping well. And Ready Player Viewer says, I can't wait to make heads shake in Pavlov. And Pavlov is something I want to talk about too as well, and just a little bit, although not too much to say. That hasn't been said already. Hope to see you all there. You will see me there whenever I get a chance. And Mr. Jackpot is here. I think we must have said the quest. We said it 3 times. Is that what happened? And then Mr. Jackpot appeared. Maybe he was always on the ceiling, watching us from above. I don't know. Darren Green says, just look for Bessers in VR. Bessers in VR South Park. There's you, lol. You mean buzzers? Why are you calling me buzzers? I'm gonna pump my AC and hang out in Antarctica all summer, says Mikey Pounds. That's a good idea. And even with Gran Turismo, if you're driving a convertible, get a fan in front of you, get that going. More immersion. PSVR2 Stupid says, how do we all feel about being able to stab people in various ways on Firewall Ultra? I'm very excited about that, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people are. What does that say about us as people, that this is the kind of shit that we really want? We want to be able to realistically stab people. I don't know what it says, but maybe we shouldn't look into it too much. What you should look into, however, is a nice relaxing kayak in the Antarctic, or perhaps in Costa Rica, Australia, and Norway. There's 4 locations. You can now pre-order this officially. I pre-ordered it myself yesterday or the day before. This price given is in sterling pounds, so I think it's like $20 and like €21, or it's around this price. You know what it is. There is like 15% off if you're a PS Plus member, so if you pre-order it before launch, you do get to take advantage of that. Oh, actually in pounds is 16 pounds with the discount. So this is the full price, so it's even better again. Just see if there is anyone saying American prices, in case anyone wants to hear that. I know what the Americans are like, too lazy to use a conversion calculator, but that's understandable too. There we go. $19.54 in America's price, if anyone is wondering, and $22.99 is the regular without the discount. So I think the euro is the same as the, whoa, pop me out, but whatever. The euro is the same as the American price listed anyway. Of course, it's not the same value. But yeah, Kayak VR. I think this could be the game that I show friends and family. You know, I think this is the one. When my mother comes to visit, I'd like to get her and sit her down, stick her in Antarctica, and like, you know, there's penguins and fucking whales and shit. She'd love that, you know. She's big into nature and stuff, so just the fact that it's nice and relaxing, take it easy, it's chill. Uh, she really enjoys. I think this could be the ideal beginner game, and also it's like one of the best looking games. It probably is the best looking game. I mean, maybe it's not that impressive because it's only rendering water and some environments and a canoe or a kayak, but it's still like, they describe it themselves as photorealistic. Alt Action Gaming says No Man's Sky still have an update to announce before VR2 release. Could be a big one too. That's interesting. I did not hear about that. Ready Player Viewer says it's a game, so it's cool. We all know it doesn't translate to real life. Oh yeah, no, I'm just pulling the piss. Don't worry. But yeah, the real reason I want Blade and Sorcery so bad to come to PSVR2 is because you can, like, that seems to be the most realistic torture game. So there is something there, you know. PSVR2 Stupid says, haha, now with blood spatter. Hello, viewer psychopaths. Exactly. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with me? Why has my wife left me? Rodney Wheeler says, I'm excited about PSVR2, but the wire. Meta got me hooked on unhooked. Rodney. Alright, everybody give Rodney some space. I know, Rodney, you're new here, and you're very welcome, Rodney. But you just come in here and you start swinging. That's what you're doing. You're swinging. There's a lot of PSVR people around you, and they're surrounding you right now. I'm gonna do you a favor, Rodney. I'm gonna tell everyone to back off. Everyone back off Rodney right now. Alright? He's new. He didn't know. Okay? Rodney, we don't wear batteries on our faces around here. We don't take the heat. We want comfortable headsets around here. We want photorealistic visuals, Rodney. Alright? The wire is nothing, in my opinion, says PSVR2 Stupid. And in a game like Gran Turismo 7 where you're sitting down, you're not going to be thinking about the wire at all. It's only when you're standing up and moving around that's going to be an issue. And most of the games, even the Resident Evils, probably Horizon, you probably can play all those sitting down too if you wanted to. Rodney Wheeler says, play a first-person shooter, intense match makes a difference. But what if you're playing it, you're in this intense match, and then the battery cuts out halfway through? It's not something I got to worry about, Rodney. PSVR2 Stupid says, unless you have massive play area, it doesn't matter. Decepticon over here saying, it looks and feels like kayaking, but it gets old quick. Why didn't you say this before I pre-ordered this? Where was this? Where was this review before I pre-ordered this? But does that mean kayaking in real life gets old quick? You know? And it's going to have online races as well. So, I mean, it's got replayability there. Darren Green says, was not a diss at you, I'm just a bad speller. So confused. I'm so confused, Darren. Did you meant to say something and you typed buzzers instead? Is that what you meant? Space Denizen says the wire is neither a deal breaker nor a non-issue. Benefits to both. Obviously, look, we'd love to live in an ideal world where you can have all the benefits of the wire without having to need a wire. That would be very, very cool, but we're just not there yet. I think if you are a believer in wireless like Rodney, that's fair enough, you know. I do like to shit in the Quest people, but mostly it's in good humor, you know. I do pro lol. No idea what that was a reference to. Can't remember. Ready Player Viewer says easy fix, just don't face your PS5. In other words, look the other way. That's the strat right there. You do not need to look at a webcam anymore. You don't need to be facing a specific direction, so you can look anywhere. So make sure your PS5 is behind you. And my mic light flashed there. I don't know what that means. Should I be concerned? Hope the audio is fine. What is happening? What does the yellow flashing light mean on this thing? I don't know. Is the battery dying? That'll be awkward. Booyah Kasha says, is Pavlov day one? Listen, if the battery does die, I'm just going to have to end the stream early because I've got no backup ready to go. Is Pavlov day one? Well, I guess we can get into that now. We don't know. We don't know about Pavlov. Since that last video I made, if you look at my channel, you go to my videos, I listed, they initially said in the description that it was coming February 22nd. Gooner on Twitter, a fellow on Twitter called Gooner, said to me, is it definitely coming February 22nd? Because I can't find it anywhere. So then I started looking, and I went back to that description, and that description had changed to coming soon. And I wasn't sure if I misremembered this or whatever, but in that video I go into detail how, yes, we proved, thanks to Tradition's help, that it did used to say the 22nd and that they did change it. So it kind of points to a delay, I think. But it's still being advertised as a launch window game. So even if it's not day one, it's still going to be within the first month, I think. Of course, that could all change tomorrow if we get like an update from, I think his name is Dave Vills, the developer. But I wanted to send him a DM on Twitter to ask him, but he's got like everything's private, so you can't reach out to him in any way that I know of. Frankie Doherty, or maybe Doherty, I don't know what that the G situation is there. Will Gran Turismo 7 have a third-person view? That's a good question, actually. As far as I know, you're going to be locked into that cockpit view. But there is an advantage to playing with the bumper view, I think. So maybe you're going to be at a disadvantage if you're forced to play in viewer, I don't know. But they didn't say anything about third-person view. So I'm going to guess probably not, unless you want to play flat. That's the only way you'll get third-person view. A guess, of course, but I think it's probably a safe enough guess. Decepticon says, needs procedurally generated. The kayaking game? VR Demon says, The Wire was nothing to me until I started playing room scale games walking around. PSVR2 will be room scale, which you'll love, but they'll have solutions for The Wire. It's true, but a lot of the games are like optional room scale as well. So if that is a problem, you can just go to standing or you can go to sitting. I know Horizon gives you like the 3 options when you turn it on. Of course, you'll want to do room scale for that. The most VR experience, you know. Rodney Wheeler says, lol, it's Sony plan to have your PlayStation pulled off your desk. It could be, yeah. That's something I want to talk about as well if we get to the Nathie part. He got a hands on, and he did mention how you could. He tugged on the wire, and instead of the wire popping out, basically the PS5 just started moving forward, which is scary. My PS5 is, 3 feet off the ground if that falls. It's big. It's a big, heavy console, as I'm sure you all know. That could do some damage. You could kill a man. If there's a child underneath that, the child is gone. Alt Action Gaming says, I have a feeling the No Man's Sky update will be VR related. I hope so. Like interaction with each other and NPCs, etc. Finger tracking and shit like that. That would be excellent. Decepticon says, AI could make that game insane. It seems like AI is, in like 10 years, you're going to be able to type in whatever game you want to play on Dreams. A Dreams type game on PS7 or whatever. And then it's just going to have whatever game you want. Ali Boy, my biggest fan these days. Does anyone think Hitman will get a PSVR2 edition? I think if it does get a PSVR2 edition, they might not take advantage of the Sense controllers, because it got a PC edition and they didn't take advantage of the motion controls. Like they kind of gimped it similarly to how it was gimped on PSVR1. You could still move the hands or whatever, but you could only like have one primary, or I can't remember what the details were, but they messed it up. So I don't know if they care too much. But I don't know, maybe if PSVR2 takes off, if they see that it's selling millions, and if it's a relatively simple port job, they might do that. PSVR2 Stupid says, the wire's 5 meters at least, where you're running off to lol. Saws, I'll leave him paid on. Relax. And actually Nathie points out you can extend it. You can use an extension, USB-C extender, and you can get yourself another 2 meters. He tried a longer one and it wouldn't work with the longer one, but the 2 meter one he could get it to work. So there you go. Darren Green says, think it would be a good idea to get lenses protectors for PSVR2. Maybe if you wear glasses. But I've never had any issue with my lenses on PSVR1 other than fogging up. And that doesn't seem to be an issue anymore. And obviously you give them a wipe, because sometimes, you know, a bit of dust or whatever got on them. But look, if it's something you're worried about, then go for it. But them Fresnel lenses, I think they're sturdier than what PSVR1 had. Or more durable. I could be wrong, but someone correct me if I'm wrong. Rodney Wheeler says, sorry, I play Population 1 heavy on PC, and when unhooked I feel more confident turning and shooting down OPS. OPS? OPS. I don't know what that is, I'm sorry. But yeah, Population 1 on PC, wireless, it'll be good. I'm not doubting it. I'm not doubting it. Slap69 says, rest in peace, aim controller. I'm still holding out hope there'll be an aim 2. And maybe Farpoint 2. And they bring out an aim 2 with this. And then First Contact will be like, hey, we got an update coming out next month where we patch in support for the aim. Or the new aim. That would be pretty cool. Space Dunson says, I love Pop 1. Rodney, def much better turning in real life. Kaiksa, or Kaisa, says aim controller was fun, it was excellent. You can't beat that feeling of that two-handed weapon in your hand. It felt weird with pistols, alright, in fairness. I'm playing No Man's Sky for my first experience, man. Oh, that's going to be your first game? I played it on PSVR 1 and thought it was awesome aside from the blurriness. I did too. I mean, I couldn't get into the game. But taking off from the surface and going all the way into space and just looking behind your shoulders and seeing, like, you know, the fucking an entire planet behind you was insane. I don't care how it was blurry, but I don't think it was as blurry as people kind of make out it was. But yeah, look, I'll be looking at that in PSVR 2 in 4K to really appreciate the details. Rodney says, I understand great graphics on VR is the ultimate experience. Assetto Corsa was my entry to VR. Damn. Going from Assetto Corsa to Grid Legends. It's rough out there. It's rough out there, Rodney. Of course, you got the PC set up as well, so you're fine. Yeah, kayaking game. Damn, am I really behind in the comments? Long live hybrid games is important. I know there's a guy on Twitter who believes these hybrids are not true VR. Like he's really against them. He thinks it's a cop-out. But I'll take Resident Evil 7 any day of the week over 99% of made for VR games. I don't care. I don't care if that makes me shallow, that I'm only interested in the big budget AAA shit. It's just a better game. It's more content. It's like it feels full, you know. Rodney Wheeler says, and also console allows for cool third-party controllers, wheels, HOTAS, etc. I truly understand PSVR potential. Let's hope it can reach that potential in terms of sales. Darren Green says Resident Evil is still hopefully getting VR2 updates, and he means Resident Evil 7. I hope so too, because I mean, they've got the work done in Resident Evil 8, as you would imagine. I mean, it's obviously not going to be a copy and paste drop, but if they can just move the motion control scheme into 7, make that work, that would be like worth revisiting, playing the two games back to back again, and that would just be amazing. Muzz, what did I miss? How you doing, Muzz? All the way from Canada. Firewall Ultra rated BA for badass. Unfortunately, it's rated T for teen. But there's still going to be blood spatter, which is cool. Importance says 47 watching. That's pretty cool. I think it's just, listen, I'm putting anything I talk about in PSVR 2, it's the views are going up because there's so much interest. This month is going to be like, it's like fever pitch, you know? Everyone wants to talk about PSVR 2. If you're interested in getting into content creation, if you want to focus on PSVR 2, now is the time to do it. This has never been a better chance for your channel to grow. PSVR 2 Stupid says Hitman has just put all 3 Hitmen into one game, The World of Assassination, to make it an all-inclusive, easy experience. I reckon it has to get the updates. The controls were unplayable on PSVR 1. They were rough enough on PSVR 1. OPS, that's slang for enemies. You mean, am I saying that wrong? Am I supposed to be saying ops? Tangos. Tango down. Ops down. Anyway, Darren Green says, how the hell do you play No Man's Sky? I just play it in creative mode. That's kind of what I was doing, playing in creative mode. But that kind of ruins the experience as well. You know, you're supposed to be like slowly building yourself up into something, a big shot in the universe or whatever. Decepticon says the modded VR games are better than the true VR games. Hopefully they do the same with hybrid. I hope so too. And I want Capcom. I want them to go back to Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3. Obviously Resident Evil 4 coming up. There's a massive question mark over what kind of VR support that's going to have. It will have PSVR2 support. We just don't know what it's going to be. If it's not the full game, it's going to be disappointing. I mean, they've just given us Resident Evil 8, so we can't be too mad at them, you know. But at the same time, it's like Resident Evil 4 is going to be, you know, it's a classic, a remake of one of the best games of all time. So you want that. Resident Evil 8 and Gran Turismo 7 are both hybrid system sellers. They're the ones I'm most hyped for. They're the ones most people are hyped for, these ones for PSVR. And I don't understand the argument against the hybrid. Like, hybrids is what's going to sell PSVR 2. It's going to ensure the support as well. PC mods are better confirmed, says Space Denizen. To counter that, I will say that Ian Higton, Eurogamer, said he played the PC mod of Resident Evil 8 and he got to play the PSVR 2 version of Resident Evil 8, and he said the PSVR 2 version was leagues better. So I just want to point that out. That's the exact word that he used. It's seared into my mind as a Sony pony. Marcusor says, any thoughts on that Light Brigade title? Yeah, I'll get to that in a... what have we been talking about for the last while? Pavlov, I guess, was the last topic. But I'm just trying to catch up with the comments. PSVR 2 hype, says Geisen. Exactly. You know, a rising tide raises all boats and all that shit. Alt Action says, I reckon Hideo Kojima will do something with PSVR 2. Ooh, whoops, I lost my comments. With PSVR 2, maybe with Death Stranding 2. That's a good shout. He has been experimenting with VR. He did something with the Quest for Tokyo Game Show. I don't know what, like a weird experience thing. Or like an exhibition. I don't know what it was. But he has been seen with the VR headset before. So hopefully in Death Stranding 2, he'll do something. Maybe you can be the baby on Sam's chest and just watch the world from that point of view. You know, all that yellow fluid in your eyes. Rodney Wheeler says, plus I have a feeling Gran Turismo San Andreas will come out for PSVR because Meta realizes the Quest can't handle that. Can't handle it. That might be tipping point for Sony. Honestly, Gran Turismo San Andreas, unless it's like extensively remade and it's like feels more current, if it's not GTA 5, I'm not going to say no to it obviously, but you know, it's going to feel like a compromise, you know. Give me Grand Theft Auto 5 and give me Red Dead Redemption. Rockstar. Now. On the moon, question mark? I'm not sure what that's in relation to. I'm sorry. Memory of a fish, a goldfish. Any news in Half-Life? No news. Geisen got you covered. Fallout and Skyrim modded are the best VR experience, man. I've seen some Skyrim mods where you can just like interact with the NPCs now. You can just grab them, push them around, and so much worse. I've seen another mod that's like just horrific. You look down and you've got no clothes on, and then you're able to do all kinds of weird stuff, man. There's some depraved people out there. I know you're out there watching me right now. Decepticon. PSVR 2 Stupid says GTA is going to look and play so beautifully. I hope so. I hope that's a thing that happens. I'd like to get it confirmed first, though. Darren Green, Hitman just had a PS5 update. There's something happening there. Don't think they will just abandon us. Well, look, they just had the big update to combine the 3 games into one, so it could be cleaning up after that. But, I mean, I suppose it depends on... Like, they've got the stats. They can see how many people were playing Hitman in VR. So if it's a small number, they're probably not going to bother. But if it was, maybe 10% could be enough, you know? I don't know. Gran Turismo 7, yes. Yes, that makes a lot more sense. Armored Core VR. FromSoft, best be doing something. Well, they did do that Deracine. Weird Deracine game. So an armored core, I mean that fits a mecha combos. That fits perfectly. I can see that happening. And Sony actually own like 13 or 14% of FromSoft, or their parent company. I can't remember which. So that's something they could have influence on. Ian Langford, how you doing? Says, I can't wait for Gran Turismo 7 and Village, Call of the Mountain and Firewall Ultra. Switchback. Order my PSVR2 3 weeks ago. It's best headset out there. Hear, hear. Cheers. Ian Langford. Raise a glass to Ian. Darren buying all 3 Hitman to play on PSVR 1 was expensive but ruined by controls. That was not for me, I'm sorry. If there's one thing GT7 needs is better music, listen. Every PS5 has Spotify now. You know, just get yourself some Spotify. You can fix that easy. Skyrim patch, please don't expect that. Skyrim is owned by Xbox now, and they're not going to give us any freebies like that. And even if they charge for us, you know, they're not going to do that for us. Rodney Wheeler says, we technically have GTA 5 now in VR on an RTX 3070. It runs decent at mid resolution. I've heard mixed things about it, but if you're maybe on the RTX whatever, it's a different story. Alt Action Gaming says, completely off topic, but what's your thoughts on Star Citizen as a project? I've got very little interest in it. I will say it's just something that I keep hearing about. It feels like it's a scam. It feels like it's been in development for like at least 10 years. So, but whatever they're releasing, the people who are backing it seem to be happy about it. So if you're happy with this, you're happy with this. It's just not something I'm going to be interested in until it's like a complete thing and it comes to PlayStation, if that ever happens. Muzz says, I honestly not sure what game I will want to play first. It might be Gran Turismo 7 actually. Well, there you go. It might be the most visually impressive one. I don't know if Kayak is kind of photorealistic, but then Gran Turismo 7 will have much more going on in terms of content. D-Wolf says, does anyone know what version of Resident Evil Village I should buy? Standard Edition or Gold? If you only care about VR, then you shouldn't really have to worry about the Gold benefits, because only the main campaign is compatible in VR. So the Gold will give you the DLC, like the Rose DLC, but that's third person only, I think. And you cannot use VR with that, so keep that in mind. But if you want to play it flat, then go for the Gold. If you want to get all the, you know, the story or whatever, if you care about that. PSVR2 Stupid says, the small number playing Hitman VR and PSVR is confirmation of people wanting if it's sold well. 3 Blue Collar Worker says, I just hope Resident Evil 4 gets a proper VR inclusion. Man, I hope so much. And I don't mean the Quest version. I want the remake. Well, I'll take the Quest one as well if I can get it, but definitely the remake. Fingers crossed for Village to be a homeowner, then 4. Fingers crossed for Village to be a homeowner, then 4. I don't know, but I don't understand what you're saying. I'm sorry. People keep forgetting Star Wars Squadron is also a potential revive. It is a dope flight sim and has esport potential. Why does nobody talk about that game? Because that's a flat game as well, and nobody ever talks about it. Oh, home run. There we go. That makes more sense. I think it will be a home run. I think so. I can't imagine how it won't be. I played it flat, so they'd have to mess up the VR implementation by a lot for it to be bad. So Resident Evil 7 won't be playable on VR2 launch, will it? No, it won't. No. Might not ever happen. Squadron's Pitfall is being linked to Star Wars. That stuff's played out. I'm not a big fan of Star Wars, but I finally caught up with the comments. So let's go on to the next thing, which is also on the subreddit here. So that's handy. Shouldn't make too long to get the video up. It is the Light Brigade, and I'll admit that when I saw the trailer for this game, I didn't think anything of it really. It was kind of like, I thought one of those artsy kind of fartsy games that I wasn't going to enjoy. So I ignored it. But this is some actual gameplay, and you can see in the corner a person using the PSVR2 in the corner, so you know it's legit. Too legit to quit. And if you're watching this, you'll see that, you know, kind of looks solid. He's picking up the weapons. He's got like picking up magazines separately. Got the manual reloading. Firing kind of looks like it's satisfying. The only downside for me is the kind of art style. I'm not a big fan of that art style. I prefer something a bit more grounded, realistic. But it doesn't look bad, you know. I feel like this video is kind of doing a bit to turn some heads, at least in the PSVR community. Because, you know, games like this were being overshadowed by your Resident Evils and Gran Turismos and whatever, but, you know, it's not looking too bad. Pinging headshots. Whoops, sorry for that. I've got 2 topics left. And I did like this was such like a super brief topic. I don't know if you could call this a topic. More like a heads up. Darren Green says Dreams PSVR2 would be nice. At this stage, I'd kind of like to see a Dreams 2 instead. Drop PSVR support, or drop PS4 support. Focus on the full power of the PS5. Get PSVR2 support obviously in there as well, and bring AI into it. If it's probably too early to do that, but I want to see a Dreams sequel where they use this AI kind of type in something you want and then it creates it, you know, instead of having to learn these tools and shit. Fozzie Bear says, I would have loved to see Doom 3 remake. Is that on the cards? I haven't heard anything about it. Reminds me of In Death but with guns. Yeah, that's the kind of style, I guess. Jason Voorhees says, I wish Ghostbusters was more realistic looking. I know, this is kind of the problem with... I don't want to be shitting on the Quest too much. This is the problem that games can run natively on the Quest that are also ported on the PSVR 2 are not going to be visually striking showcase pieces. You know, it's they're being held back by the lowest common denominator. But it could still be fun, you know. Important says, I'm over the mobile graphics, not going back. That's fair enough too. I'm not going to get Light Brigade at launch. It'll have to be something that I hear like a lot of positive reviews about, because while this gameplay does look like the gunplay looks good, it's something I want to wait on. PSVR 2 Stupid says, I have Squadrons and HOTAS. It's great fun, but need a proper team, not random lobbies. Many lost interest, couldn't take the system managements, etc. I played, what did I play? Maybe like 3-4 sessions of that, and then I kind of dropped it. But I actively dislike Star Wars. Even the originals, I don't like any Star Wars. Mark Smith says Light Brigade may focus more on the gameplay than realistic graphics, possibly. That's obviously that's fine too if that's what they want to do. I'm not gonna shit on them for that. But if it's just not that appealing to me personally. Rodney Wheeler says those controllers are gonna kill the potential for gun stocks, but it is good looking tech. Well, you can still get them magnet things. I can't remember what they're called, but you know what I'm talking about. Some of you do, I'm sure. Someone will probably mention us. Alt Action says, what's your thoughts on Pavlov compared to Firewall Ultra, bro? Do you think Pavlov will hold a candle to Firewall? I think Pavlov is going to be like a less polished... Like Firewall is going to have the Sony money. It's going to have that AAA kind of feel to it. But then Pavlov will have a lot more like a... Maybe like a more experimental kind of feel where you can... Like, I've watched videos. I know it's PC versions, so maybe mods are playing a big role there that we won't see on PSVR 2. But just dicking around, having fun like that, you know, getting a group of friends, getting a revolver and like manually loading one bullet into a revolver and playing Russian roulette and just stuff like that that you can have a lot of fun with. I think they can both coexist. It's like Alvo and Firewall on PSVR 1, where Firewall was the more tactical, slow-paced, and then Alvo was your Call of Duty arcadey kind of shooter. It's the same thing, basically. So I'm excited for both of them. I don't think they need to be in competition, but I will be very interested because Firewall is doing the button press reloading, and not Alvo. Pavlov, well, Alvo will be too actually, but Pavlov will be doing the manual reloading, so it's going to be a direct comparison there. And a lot of people are going to be like, well, I prefer it this way, I prefer it that way. So that's going to lead to some interest in conversations, I think. PSVR2 Stupid says Night Pumpkins and Co. XOXO. Thank you very much. 17 more sleeps if I get one in now. Sweet dreams. 3 Blue Collar Workers says not interested in Brigade, but might be once you start playing, you love it. It could be, exactly. Could be like a hidden gem. See you all on PSVR2. I hope so. Mr. Jackpot says Pavlov is Alvo, slightly better graphics. But Alvo has a lot of fans as well. Darren Green says if they ever make a PSVR2 crazy game. What? Crazy game? Crazy golf game. Sorry. I should really read your next comment before I read your first one. Crazy. Yeah, golf. Well, Golf Plus is coming. But it's not a launch game. So a golf game is on the way for PSVR2. Alt Action says, yeah, I'm excited to play both and see the difference. Gritty, realistic shooters are the best in VR. I love the kind of slow pace. Even though I dick around loads in Firewall as well, but it is that one game, and I think it was Tradition who I saw who mentioned this, but it was true. It's that one multiplayer game where if you're playing with people you don't know, you will still talk to them. And you like give them like, you know, we'll talk tactically and shit like that, whereas in every other game if you're playing with randoms it's just going to be mute or a child screaming into a microphone or whatever. What are you playing live stream day one, says Booyaka Shot. So my plan is to play Horizon first, then Resident Evil, then Pavlov if it is day one, but it might be delayed. If Pavlov is delayed, Gran Turismo 7, and then Kayak. I don't know if I'll get them all done in the one day, but that's what I want to do. That's the plan. And while we're talking about all these shooters, this is just another topic I wanted to bring up, is that the variety of first-person multiplayer shooters that we have on PSVR2, it's not even out yet, but it's already more than what we had on PSVR1. Like, what did we have on PSVR1? We had Firewall 0 Hour, and we had to wait 2 years for that to come out. So we were 2 years in the fucking desert, thirsty. Alvo, but that didn't come out until like 2020, I think, maybe 21. I can't remember exactly, but we had to wait ages for Alvo. They were the two big multiplayer games that were even kind of comparable. I know there was Honor and Doozy D-Day, but that was like made by two lads, and it was fucking Roblox graphics. It was rough, and it has its fans, but yeah. And then compare what we have already for 2023 alone, assuming Alvo gets ported this year. Firewall Ultra, Pavlov, Crossfire, Sierra Squad, Alvo, Honor, and Doozy D-Day. They're bringing that over as well. And I know Crossfire is co-op, it's not PvP, but still, that's just day one. So what are we going to have, or not day one, year one. So what are we going to have after 3 or 4 years? You know, I think we can expect all the popular kind of ones. Like, I know there's Contractors, maybe Onward. I know it's owned by Meta, but the fact that they're letting Beat Saber come over, maybe they'll let some other games come over too. I think I think, you know, Firewall, they had it good on PSVR 1 where they didn't have to worry too much about the competition. They had they had it to themselves basically. But Pavlov is going to be there before them, it sounds like. So immediately they're going to have stiff competition, because that's the best selling PC VR shooter. So already they're going to have to go toe to toe with that. And even though they're different kinds of shooters, as we already talked, but you know what I mean, they're still in the same genre. Booyakasha says, is Firewall 1 backwards compatible? No, it's not. But Firewall Ultra is kind of like a remake. It's like half remake, half sequel. Like, the two maps we've seen so far are like remed bunker and remed oil rig, you know. And we've seen, what Contractors have we seen? I mean, I think we're suspecting it's Okoro we've seen. So they're bringing back a lot of the same stuff, but also enhancing us and changing us and making it feel new, and obviously adding new stuff too. D-Wolf says day one Thursday 100. Day one Thursday 100 Gran Turismo 7. What? Day one Thursday is not coming on a Wednesday? Rodney Wheeler says there is a lot of Fortnite VR talks, but Pop 1 still rules. I think Tim Sweeney himself kind of came out and said don't expect Fortnite to come to VR, so forget us, I think. Unless it takes off. If this takes off for whatever reason, if one of these games, or if a game comes out of nowhere and everyone has to have it, it's like the Fortnite of VR, basically, then you can expect to see everyone wanting to get in. There'll be too many games then. Important says 2 lads 1 game.com. Exactly, it's disgusting. Buyakasha says no. Oh, sorry. Why am I? That was Solid Justice replying to Buyakasha. D-Wolf says Drive Club will be lost to time. It will. It's already lost to time, isn't it? Can you even download that game anymore? It's like been removed from the store. Rodney Wheeler says, "Oh, Drive Club was in VR, wasn't it?" Yes, it was. It was a day one. It was a day one title, I think, and people really gave it shit for its visuals, but I thought it was looking nice. Nothing compared to Gran Turismo 7, obviously. Like the draw distances and shit were rough, but it had like the full amount of AIs and loads of cars and detailed interiors and all that. Give me Firewall Ultra in my veins now, please, says Alt Action Gaming. And oh, through. Sorry, I thought that was Thursday. Day 100 through 100 Gran Turismo 7. That's your... Okay, 1 to 100. That makes a lot more sense. I'm understanding you now. We're on the same page. But yeah, Gran Turismo 7 is going to suck a lot of time out of a lot of people. Test Drive is out in 2023. VR, please. Every racing game now, people are going to want a VR port on PSVR2. Don't worry about us. Have you seen the other people in here? Have you seen Decepticon? Have you seen Mr. 777? I mean, you're fine. Don't worry about us. Buyakasha says, what's your dream VR game? It has to be a Rockstar game, I think. It's either gotta be GTA 5 or Red Dead Redemption 2. Or obviously GTA 6. If they can launch that with VR support, that would be just, you know. But Red Dead Redemption 2 as a port, that would be fucking... like, you can already kind of live a life in that game. So imagine if you're in virtual reality, skinning animals, fishing, you know, all kinds of crazy shit in that game. That would just be amazing. But I'm a massive Metal Gear Solid fanboy too. So if they could remake Metal Gear Solid 1 and bring that to virtual reality, I'd be all over that too. Jackpot says maybe Breachers will come out in PSVR 2. That's another one. That's the one that has like crazy cool destruction and stuff, isn't it? It's kind of like Rainbow Six Siege kind of levels of busting down doors and rappelling into windows and all that kind of stuff. Which, yeah, if you're making a PC VR game, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want it on PSVR 2 now as well, because there's no limitations anymore, really. There's parity with the controllers. The PS5 can power us, you know. Foveated rendering has given us a big boost. Good question. It was a good question, and thank you for asking us. Red Dead 2 hands down, says 3 blue collar workout. I mean, it would just be amazing. That is probably the best open world. Like, in terms of like technicality, like everything in that game is like so detailed and flawless. And I watched some video of like you can see some NPCs working on a railroad, like they're building the track. And if you watch them, he'll hammer the nails down. He'll move on to the next one. He'll hammer that nail down. He just keeps going, and he's like building this in front of your eyes. It's fucking crazy. Or The Last of Us 2 or 1. I'd love a Last of Us. I'd like a spin-off even of The Last of Us, where like a new character, kind of like what they're doing with the Horizon Call of the Mountain. Maybe even take place in a different country, or like I'd love to see other parts of The Last of Us world, you know. Predator Hunting Grounds VR for me, really. Damn, that's a game that's nobody really talks about, so it's kind of cool to see. Predator Hunting Grounds fan in real life. A rare unicorn. The Division will be so dope in VR. Yes. What game wouldn't be good though? What game wouldn't be way better if it was in VR? Like even an average AAA flat game. Like I'm sick of Assassin's Creed games. You know, I'm absolutely sick. I haven't bought one since Black Flag. But if you told me that they're bringing out Black Flag 2 with VR support tomorrow. I'm getting it. I'm pre-ordering that, you know. Darren Green says, have VR now. What would we have? We have VR now. What would we have in the future? Matrix question mark. I think we're going to have. I think AI is going to be crazy in the future with games. I know Decepticon, if he's still there, he's a big believer in AI too. I think it's going to get to the point where you just boost up your console, describe the game you want to play, and it will create a game for you on the spot, including story, including voice acting, all kinds of crazy shit. And I think we'll see that before I die. Muzz says, I think my number one dream game in VR is still a Battlefield game. Battlefield game will be sick. Although, with the way Battlefield has gone now, I think I probably prefer Call of Duty Warzone. I'd love to see a big Battle Royale game in VR. Right now, the only way to play Battle Royale on PSVR 1 is Rec Room. And obviously that's unacceptable. And Rec Room isn't even confirmed for PSVR 2 yet, which I think is weird. Rodney Wheeler says, the day I can play GTA with the wheel and pedals, with gunstock and flight stick, you gotta have, how big is your setup? You want to parachute out of the plane and land, and then shoot up some people, and then get into a car? You gotta be like, you're like a DJ on the fucking decks, you know, spinning. Daniel Dries, I need Battlefield in VR, and Battlefield's a popular choice. True VR is a game changer, says Blue Collar. Geisen says D-Day Enhanced will probably come closest to Battlefield with 64 player multiplayer. I think it's kind of like what's that other game? The Last Brigade. That kind of style of graphics where it's like really low. Again, only 2 lads making that game. I'm not going to give them any shit because of, you know, it's not AAA quality or whatever, but that's just off-putting. It would have to have like really, really, really good gameplay for me to go into Honor and Juicy D-Day again, I think. Because I did try it, and it was, you know, somewhat fun, but then it was really buggy. It kept crashing, progression wasn't tracking, you know, I just had a bad time overall with this. Blue Collar says, too bad most people don't realize how good and how much potential there is. Hopefully it's going to get to the stage now where with PSVR 1, you showed your friends, you put them in, and then they're like, oh, I feel sick, I'm never playing this again. I hope PSVR 2 is like, you put them in, that was amazing, I didn't feel sick, I was just blown away, and they can enjoy us the way that we can enjoy us. And that will, you know, translate to sales. High on Life needs to come to VR like yesterday, says Buyakishan. That's an ideal one as well. Especially considering their history with Trover Saves the Universe. Decepticon says, AI everything, shit's gonna get weird. It is. Everyone's gonna be back to working in the fields. Because AI is gonna take all the... it's coming in from the top. Everyone expected AI to come in from the bottom, but it's coming in from the top. And it's gonna enslave us, basically. But I'm looking forward to being a slave. Rodney says, based on what I'm... As long as I get to play these cool games as well. Based on what I'm learning in school, many game developers say the future is AI thinking... Oh yeah, NPC for more advanced thinking and reactions. There was a game I saw. It's probably not a real game. It was like a demo. It was a VR game, though. Where it was like an open world type thing. But it kind of looked basic. It was like Minecraft level of graphics. But he was walking up to NPCs... He was talking to them with his microphone. It was translating his text into something that they could understand, and it was connected to some AI online, and it was giving him unique answers. But as if that character in the game was like, it knew the rules of the game. It wouldn't talk about the real world. It would only talk about the game world, basically. It was just like a proof of concept, really, but it was really, really impressive. You just blow my mind, Pumpkin. A Battle Royale viewer like Warzone. Exactly. I mean, Call of Duty has to come to PSVR 2 if you want it to get... If we're talking mainstream, you have to have a Call of Duty. Of course, Xbox could mess that all up. Mr. 6117 Bean says, there's war. There is war. That's true. Asian Panda says, just give me Killzone. Killzone's a man. Killzone, Resistance. What else does PlayStation have that they could bring back to life with VR? There's so many things that Well, I was going to say Legendary. Oh, Warhawk. Warhawk is another one I'd love them to bring back. Why have I never thought of this? I don't know. But now you have, so it's okay. Maybe it's better not to think of these things because you're just realizing you don't have them. Just put me in the holodeck, says D-Wolf. Rodney says, imagine if every NPC had its own identity. That's the next breakthrough in gaming experience. Exactly. Must says, no battle royale for me. I just want big battles with 60 per side and all the vehicles. Battlefield or COD, I don't care which. Reasonable. Battlefield is not for everyone, but I like it as a... I'd like us to have one, you know, just so we could have the full library, a variety. Rec Room has some good viewer content too. It does. I put many hours into Rec Room. It was actually one of my favorites PSVR1 games for a long time. War Dust for PC viewer is similar to Battlefield. There you go. It exists. Happy February 22. Oh, we're not there yet. We're not there yet, Darren. AI Seinfeld episodes on Twitch. Is that a thing? Is that real? Sam Fisher, yeah. Splinter Cell, I'll take him too. I hope Pavlov is cross-platform. I think it will be cross-play with PC. I think that's been confirmed. Not with the Quest version though, because that's running a Quest Pavlov Shack, which is like a downgraded version. What am I doing? Let me exit full screen here. Shut that down. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Yes, one final topic. One final thing, and this is actually interesting. It's a good one. Nathie, who is a big VR YouTuber, he put out a video. He titled it PSVR2 unboxing setup tips and tricks. Although he didn't unbox it in the video. But basically, he did what Miles Dyer did. I don't know if you know Miles Dyer from PSVR Without Parole. He went to Fast Travel Games in Sweden. They invited a lot of content creators to see what they're working on, and they gave them demos of the PSVR2 headset. So he went hands-on with this, and he made a video. And then Nathie went later, and he made a video as well. But his is like 20 minutes long. It's like in-depth, and he said like stuff that we didn't know before. So it was definitely worth watching for the new information. I got some bullet points here that I remembered off the top of my head anyway, but basically, what did he say? When he boosted up, the first thing he kind of was disappointed by was that it didn't have a special VR menu. It was the flat PS5 menu. I don't know if that's a big deal for everyone. I don't think that needs to be there day one at least. As long as your menus are easily, you know, operated. That's the word. Sorry, I had a heart attack there. Ideally, I like to be using eye tracking to pick things in the menu, but I'm fine with day one menus being flat. That's fine, whatever. And then in the future, a software update comes out and they make a 3D environment for you to boot up in or whatever. That's fine. But he had a problem with that. And then he mentioned the cable. So he mentioned the cable was very light. He didn't have many issues. But we kind of already talked about this earlier on. He did pull the cable to see what would happen, and it didn't pop out of the PS5. The PS5 started moving forward, so that is a concern. That is something we'll have to worry about, I think. There is those magnetic things you can get. I don't know if it will work with this, but if it feels a pull, it will break away. So maybe we should look into that. But he did recommend you lay your PS5s horizontally and put the stand underneath just in case, because that could be an expensive mistake if it happens. He also mentioned, I think it's 4.5 meters long, he said, the cord, and you can extend that if you get a certain, well, he got a certain cable extender for the USB-C. He added 2 meters onto it, and then he tried a 5 meter one, I think he said, but that wouldn't work. So you can't go, you can get a good extra couple of meters, but not too much. There is a limit to the extensions. Now maybe with certain wires, certain cables will work differently, I don't know. But that's what he said about that. And he mentioned something that I didn't really realize, that there's no volume buttons on the headset. There's no physical volume buttons on the headset. So on the PSVR1, obviously you had the inline little control box here with your volume up, your volume down, power buttons and all that shit. So that's missing. So if you want to do the volume up and down, you have to do is in the menu on the little card that pops up for PSVR2. I don't know how people feel about that. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's there. It's something that's worth noting. And he kind of... The other point I mentioned here, and maybe you've got other ones we can talk about, but he brought up how he felt that the lenses, the Fresnel lenses, make it so that it doesn't feel like it's future-proof. He reckons that's going to make it outdated. I don't know how I feel about that. I know Tradition was disagreeing with that. Basically saying that he was bringing up pancake lenses, these pancake lenses, and how that's the way it should have been gone, and that's how it should have done. But Tradition brought up the point that pancake lenses don't work when a HD or OLED displays. So I'm not a technical person. I don't know about that, but yeah, that's some interesting stuff. Bullet points. I thought that was worth mentioning. Stuff that I didn't hear already, even though I kind of never. I knew I never saw the volume buttons on the headset, but it just never dinged that it was, never registered that it was a difference, you know. Decepticon says it is real and it's super weird. But I don't know what he's talking. Oh, the Seinfeld? I'll look that up then. Buyakasha says, I'm going to try and keep my old ass awake to have a late playthrough for PSVR2. Shake my head. You gotta do it. D Wolf says eye tracking menus should become the norm. I think that's something that's really impressed a lot of people with the Horizon demo. A lot of people came away with thinking, wow, that eye tracking was really accurate and it worked very well. So I think that will be the standard going forward. I think you might be onto something there. Mighty Potter says the Evil Within would be dope. And again, any horror game. I had no interest in Madison. That Madison game that came out in PS5 last year, no interest in that. A couple of weeks ago, last week, they announced that it's coming to PSVR2. It's one of my most anticipated titles now because it's a horror game in VR. So any horror game, as far as I'm concerned, is... If you're into horror, then you have to have it on VR. The second gen PSVR1 didn't have volume buttons either, did it? Okay. Interesting. I wasn't aware of that either. I've been stuck with my first gen PSVR for 7 years, 6+ years. Muzz says I'm always sitting down playing VR because I am a lazy couch gamer, so no worries about the cord for me. I'm gonna try and be more of a stander, because that's how I started. I started as a stand-in person when I was playing Firewall. I was downstairs. I had way more room, so I was able to stand up and get like a lot more space. But up here, I'm really cramped. There's walls here and everywhere. I'm kind of pinned in. Green screen behind me. But with no camera to worry about now, I can, adjust the room, get myself some more space. Blue collar workers says agreed. Horror VR is the shit, says Geisen. Absolutely, Geisen knows as well. And Blue Collar knows it too. Listen lads, the voice is starting to get sore. I'm probably going to end the stream there. I think we had a good chat. It helps to pass the time to talk about PSVR2, I think. It helps ease the ways. Jason Voorhees says, I'd love an Ori 1 remake with VR. And they're going to remake that game again. I know it's been a long time, but they probably will, won't they? And I play as too. Again, I'm not going to play any game. I'm not going to not play any horror game in VR. I can't talk. I'm losing. It's too late now. It's 3 a.m. It's 3:30. I'm falling asleep as I'm talking. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. And I'll see ye in the next one. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button or like and all that usual YouTube and shies, as I always say. Muzz says we all need to cope with the wait time somehow. Exactly. And tomorrow I'm going to watch this myself and I'm going to pretend I'm in the audience. And that'll pass another, how long have we been streaming? It'll pass an hour and 40 minutes for me. Straight to bed. Exactly. Listen lads, it's been a pleasure. And I'll see you soon. Please stay moist. Alright?
What the fuck is this?